cinnamon roll, sugar-free cinnamon roll cheesecakes. Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Bariatric Living 101. I'm Lisa, and today we are going to be making sugar-free miniature cinnamon roll cheesecakes. So let's get started. First, we are going to make the crust. And to do that, I use this Nutrail nut granola that is cinnamon and pecan. And I just put this in my food processor and grind it up into flour. And then I add, so to do 12 miniatures, it will take 3 ounces of this granola and 1 ounce of melted butter, which I have on my stove melting as we speak. So I am going to weigh out my 3 ounces of granola. I have my food processor right here. Alright, so I have my 3 ounces of granola, and I'm going to go ahead and put it right here on my food processor and turn it on. Hold your ears. Well, I gotta put my lid on first. That would help. I don't want granola going everywhere. Alright, here we go. Alright, now that I got that ground up, I'm going to add my 1 ounce of melted butter. Let me get that blended up. And this is what it looks like when it's done. So now we are going to take this and we are going to spoon it out into my 12 silicone cupcake liners. So, okay, now we are going to put our granola in this tin. Okay, now I have my pestle, and I'm going to do that. Get the granola all nice and thinned out on the bottom. Okay, I've got all that pounded out nice and thin. Now, since these are silicone, I have learned my lesson from the past. Do not put these directly on your rack in the oven, because I allot 10 minutes usually to bake these, and they will burn in that amount of time if you put them directly on the rack. So I've been putting them on a baking sheet, which you're going to be needing to use anyway when you put your cheesecake in. So I just put it on the baking rack. I bake the crust at 350 degrees for 10 minutes, I believe. If that changes, I will let you know. So let's go ahead and get that in the oven, and then we will get started on the cheesecake batter. Okay, our crusts are done. Oh, if you can see it. They turned out great, and now they got to cool. And we are going to work on our filling that we're going to put in these cinnamon roll cheesecakes. And then we're going to work on the cheesecake batter. So I'm going to put these on a cooling rack, and I will be right back. Okay, so now we are going to make the filling for the cinnamon roll cheesecakes, and it is all sugar free. I do have to add a little bit of flour to this recipe. It's not much though. So anyway, but first I have to melt some butter. So I am going to measure that out. I got some butter right here. And I need, because it's only 12 miniatures, I'm not doing a full recipe of it. So I'm cut it down in half. And I need 38 grams of butter to melt down. All right, I've got 38 grams of butter right here in my pot, and I am going to get it melting on the stove. While that's melting, I am going to go ahead and measure out. So I have, it calls for brown sugar, obviously, because that, it's the inside of a cinnamon roll, right? So you have butter and brown sugar and cinnamon. All right, so, but this is sugar free. So, and I found this Splenda Magic Baker brown sugar. And it is 0 calories. It is 0 fat. It does have 8 grams of carbs, but 4 grams are erythritol. So the ingredients is erythritol, allulose, molasses, glycerin, and stevia leaf extract. So hopefully it'll be pretty good. So I'm going to measure out approximately half a cup. Well, it's half a cup, but in grams it's 110 grams. So I'm going to have a little bowl here. 110 grams. This is the same consistency as regular brown sugar, so it will weigh the same as regular. Also calls for 19.5 grams of flour. Yeah, that ain't gonna be much flour at all. There we go. Okay, and it also calls for half a tablespoon of cinnamon. And now we're going to pour this 38 grams of butter into this mixture. And I'm going to give that a stir. You're wanting this to be a little on the chunky side because this is what you're going to sprinkle into your cheesecakes. And you want it kind of chunky in your cheesecakes. That's just going to give you so much flavor. Alright, and that's what it's going to look like. We're going to set this aside while we do our cheesecake batter. Okay, so now we're going to get started on our cheesecake batter. I've got 8 ounces of cream cheese and another 4 ounces of cream cheese. You want 12 ounces total. We're going to get that blended up. And then we will add in our sugars. It'd help if I had my bowl on all the way. So I had my cream cheese really good and soft, so this isn't going to take long. You want your cream cheese to be real soft to make cheesecakes. Because you want your cream cheese to be creamy. Alright, so to my cream cheese, I'm going to be adding in my artificial sweeteners. I'm going to use 1/8 of a cup of Splenda and 1/8 of a cup of that brown sugar. The Splenda brown sugar. Okay, so I don't have an actual 1/8 of a cup, so I'm kind of eyeballing this with my 1/4 cup. So that's about 1/8 of a cup of Splenda. And then my brown sugar, I'm going to do another 1/8 of a cup. That looks about right. But plus I'm going to be using some of my Jordan Skinny mixes. I don't have brown sugar cinnamon Jordan Skinny mix right now. But I have buttered toffee. I thought that might be a good sweetener for this. Because if you've seen my past cheesecake videos, the sugar-free ones I've done, I obviously add some Jordan Skinny syrups to it to give it some more flavor. To give it a little bit more sweetness. And that I just eyeball. And if I need more, I'll do more later. Alright, so right now we're going to blend that up. Okay, so now I am going to add in my cornstarch, which now I need my scale back. Thought I was done with my scale. The counter is only so big. So it's like I gotta move things around just so I can get things done here. All right, so it calls for 0.75 ounces, not even quite an ounce. And to that, I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit of cinnamon. I'm going to add in about 1/2 of a teaspoon. It's not going to take much. And I'm going to get that blended up, and then we'll add our cream. I'm going to add my heavy cream. at this point, before I add the eggs, I'm going to go ahead and do a taste test. To see if it's at the sweetness that I like and if it's how it tastes. See if there's anything I need to add. Nope, that is really good. Oh my gosh. Yes, please. That's really good. All right, so now we're going to add our 2 eggs. And I scramble them up and I add them at the end. That will help prevent cracking and all that stuff. So that's what I got taught in culinary school. And you know what I did not add, which I probably don't really need because I added that skinny syrup, but I am going to add a little bit of vanilla. That was supposed to be a teaspoon. I eyeballed it. Okay, I got done with my cheesecake batter. Move my mixer out of the way. Okay, so as this mixture sits when you set it aside, it does dry up a little bit, but you just mix it back up and you got a chunky mixture. All right, so I'm going to use an ice cream scooper for my cheesecake batter, but I believe I'm going to use a cookie scooper for that mixture. So I'm going to add a little bit of this mixture in first, and then I'll put my cheesecake batter, and then I'll add a little bit more of that mixture on top. I think that's how I'm going to do it. This is the first time I've made the cinnamon roll cheesecakes, sugar-free and in miniature size. So you got to bear with me. I'm only filling this up about 3/4 of the way. All right. One whole scoop. I know it's pretty darn full, but I'm going to try to do some sprinkles of this mixture on top anyway. You know what? Instead of using that, I'm going to use my hands. Kind of tapping it down a little bit so this part goes inside the cheesecake, not just on top. Now we are going to put this back on that baking sheet with some hot water for a steam bath, and we will bake these at 300 degrees for about 25 minutes. I will let you know when they're done how many minutes it actually took. I believe it's about 25. So anyway, we'll be back. Okay, these came fresh out of the oven. Look at that. And now we gotta let them set until, I'm gonna let them set until tonight, and then tonight we will put the icing on them. Okay, so now we're gonna make our cream cheese, our sugar-free cream cheese icing for those sugar-free cinnamon roll cheesecakes. So we are going to do 8 ounces of cream cheese with 1 stick of butter. If I need another stick, I will add another stick. I don't think I'm going to need another stick. I don't need that much icing. I'm going to go ahead and get that blended up. And to that, I'm going to add, I have this Swerve confectioner sugar. So I'm going to add in 1 cup. Let's see how that does. That's a 1/2 cup. Plus, I'm going to add in a little bit of vanilla. And a little bit of cinnamon. Not much, just a little. I'll be sprinkling some of that on top later. I'll let that mix up a little bit longer. It's looking pretty good. I think I might add a little bit more of the powdered sugar. I'm going to do this by the 1/4 cup here. I don't have a whole lot of this Swerve left. See how that does. I think I'm just going to add in the rest of it. This was a 12-ounce bag, but I know I used this in another recipe at one time, so I'm not sure how much is in here exactly. But I do know I had already put in 1.5 cups, and what I just added in was probably no more than another 1/8 of a cup, maybe. Well, at least it did give me a little bit more cream cheese frosting to work with, so I won't run out. I do want to give it a little taste again. You know, considering it's sugar-free, it's not bad. I think my son's going to be very happy. Oh, I didn't tell you. So this sugar-free cinnamon roll cheesecakes are due to my son. Yesterday was his birthday. He's turned 36 years old. And I still, yes, my children are grown. And he's my youngest. And I still make them cakes, cheesecakes, whatever it is they want for their birthdays. And so I asked him if he wanted a cheesecake this year. And so, yes, he did. He wanted my cinnamon roll cheesecake. And so at the time that he requested it, at that time, I don't think he was actively trying to lose weight, or he may have been, but he wasn't really strict on himself yet. Anyway, since then though, he still wanted it, but because he's been losing weight, which I am so proud of him, and because at his last doctor's appointment, he's now lost 35 pounds, and he's just doing so good, and I don't want to do anything to derail that. And so when he asked, he still wanted it, but yet he wanted it like a smaller size. And so since he's doing so well, I told him that I could probably make the cinnamon roll cheesecake sugar-free, and I can make a miniature size. And so this is the reason for this recipe, so he can have the cinnamon roll cheesecake but have it sugar-free and stay on track with his weight loss. And so that's why I'm doing this. And my other son, I'm not doing a video of his cake. That one's not sugar-free. But I have another son. He's turning 37 on the 22nd. And so I have a whole different cake I'm making for him. But this one I'm doing a video for because it's bariatric-friendly, it's sugar-free. And so, yeah. So that's the reason for this. Now that I've got the cream cheese frosting made, I'm going to go ahead and pull out the little cheesecakes and we will get this frosted. I am going to go ahead and put the frosting in my pastry bag. So yeah, my son should be very, very happy with this because it actually tastes quite well. It's quite good. So I am going to be doing a taste test of one of these cheesecakes in this video. Because we're not having these cheesecakes until tomorrow with him and his family. So, but I am going to do a sneak peek with one of them tonight. I already pulled them out of the tin, out of the cupcake tin. Look how good they look. Look at that. This is all that brown sugar cinnamon filling that we put in the cheesecakes today. This whole time that I have frosted these cheesecakes, I thought I was recording. I am so sorry. So, anyway, here's what they look like. Look at all that. So now I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on the tops. Ooh, don't want to get too much. Come on. Look at that. Cinnamon roll sugar-free cinnamon roll cheesecakes. We're going to do a taste test. Look at that crust. Oh my gosh. This is good. Okay, people, this is really good. You can't even tell this is sugar-free. This is so good. I think I've outdid myself again. Wow. I can't believe how good this is. My son is going to be so happy tomorrow. So please make this. Let me know when you do. Take pictures. Show me. This is a winner. This is a definite winner. Sugar-free cinnamon roll cheesecake. I didn't think this was actually going to turn out well. I can't say that. I thought it'd be okay, but I didn't know it was going to be this good. So this is phenomenal. Yep. Make it. Okay. Well, I hope you make it, and you guys have a very blessed evening, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.